Hi, I'm Patty, and this is my son Cameron, and we want to share a story of our lives with you because all of you are our family, and you've been here to support us, and everyone here has been so loving to us, but I don't think they know maybe where things started. And because I trust this church and my family here, I think that it's time for them to know some of the things that we went through when Cameron was very, very young. When Cameron was about 6 weeks of age, he had been sick for about a couple of weeks, just crying. I wasn't sure what was going on with him. He seemed like he was just really uncomfortable, in pain. I'd taken him to the doctor quite a bit, and no one could figure out what was going on with him until one night I had come home from work, and Cameron was convulsing, and we rushed him to the hospital. My other son, Joey, was with me as well. We rushed him to the hospital, and within a couple of hours, I found out that Cameron's head was bleeding inside, and he was suffering a subdermal hematoma, and the doctors there were trying to convince me that somebody had done something to him. And there was only two people that were ever around Cameron, which was myself and his father. And after about 3 days of being in the hospital and having the doctors come up with more and more injuries and more things that went on with Cameron, I was finally realized that this was the truth and that something so tragic had happened to him for facing the fact that Cameron may have some permanent brain damage. And the doctors, I remember telling me at one point, for a couple of days, they said they didn't know if he was going to have any permanent injury. And after a couple of days, they finally brought me up into this room where they told me that Cameron had lost the entire right side of his brain, that it was completely dead, that the left side was almost gone, half of it was gone, and by the morning they expected the rest of it to be totally gone. And they asked me what I wanted them to do. And I remember thinking at the time, you just saved my baby, and I know God will work out the details later, but you saved that baby. And so I told him, no matter what, you save him. And through the next couple of days, I remember being in the hospital and just looking at Cameron, and he was laying there. He was 6 weeks old. He was 9 pounds, just laying there. And I remember feeling so devastated, so broken, so guilty that this could have happened. At one point, I remember going down to a chapel in the hospital and praying. And I remember there was this gold cross there, and I remember just sitting there. My tears were falling on this cross, and I remember praying, God, please just fix this. Save Cameron and fix this. And I knew at that moment that he was going to. And I knew that he was going to fix Cameron, and that Cameron was going to be okay. And Cameron knows when we first left the hospital, they said that Cameron was going to probably be blind, that he would probably not walk, that he probably wouldn't be able to show emotion because of the parts of the brain that were, the emotional part of the brain that was damaged so severely. And they said that if I hoped for the best, maybe someday he would recognize me as his mother. And I remember thinking, oh God, just let him be able to laugh so that I know that he's happy. And from the moment I brought him home, from the very first ride home, we knew that he could see something because he would close his eyes at bright lights. I could see that after a couple of days having him home, I was playing with him and I saw him smile. And I knew from every single moment of every single day that God was bringing this miracle. He was there every day, and every day since then, Cameron has has continued to show me that God is there and God is there for us. And Cameron plays basketball. He walks, he talks, he laughs, he gets angry, he jokes around. He knows who I am. He knows who his pastor is. He knows who his friends are. Most of all, he knows who Jesus is. And he knows these things where he's an inspiration to me because he knows them. And he's got a big heart. Why is your heart so big? Because Jesus is in there. Yeah. And it's sometimes, I had somebody the other day at church say that I was always smiling, and I inspired them. And I thought that was so sweet for them to say it. But I felt like I'm smiling because I'm blessed every day. Every day I get to see what God's doing. And sometimes I don't think that we always get to see that. We always recognize it. And every time I see Cameron do something different, or he made me coffee this morning, that's a miracle. That's something that no one ever expected him to do.